Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a review of this Seiko SKX009K on the Jubilee bracelet, as it's quite obvious. Now if you're looking to buy one of these watches, if you have the sort of the collection where you feel like there's something missing, a solid piece, a beta watch, something you can take in the water, your best option is either the Seiko 009 or the Orient Mako 2. The PVD case one is quite nice and has rivaling specs to the SKX, but it doesn't quite hold the value like the SKX in a way that it really has a cult following with all watch enthusiasts, from Bark and Jack to the Urban Gentry and many other sort of big watch channels that are on YouTube. And you can really understand why they have this passion when you get a watch and hold it and have it for a few months to wear and really get to enjoy it with its full potential, and throw it around a bit, because it is a beta watch. It is something you're supposed to go in the water with, you're supposed to go swimming, on holiday, you're supposed to do, almost go to work with it. You can take it anywhere and do anything with it. You can dress it up, you can dress it down. There really is no limit to what you can do with one of these divers. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the overall design, the aesthetics, and why it's sort of quintessentially Seiko for them to design something like a budget diver like the SKX. When I say budget, I mean they used to go for 165, 170 pounds. They're sort of more frequently going for in the 200 range now. You can get good deals on them if you buy them second hand, obviously, as you may know, but they're already appreciating in value due to their status, which is, unheard of for a Seiko diver that's sort of around $200. There really is sort of an odd sort of thing going on in the watch world really right now, where watches that were supposed to go up in price go down, and everything happens sort of backwards at times like this. Now the second thing sort of I'm going to mention about this is it really is an enjoyable piece to have. It's got the colour, it's got the character. With the mechanical movement, you've also got that sort of know that you've got a real beating heart to it, and it's got that, sorry to say character twice, but it really does have its own character and personality, and that flair that any quartz watch probably wouldn't have, the lifeless sort of ticking I personally don't attain to. There's some really interesting modifications you can make with these watches, like you can change the bezel inserts, so you can have a Batman bezel, a black bezel, whatever colour you want really. You can use infinite modifications that you can do with these. You can always put a new strap on it. These are absolute monsters for straps. Put NATOs on, Zulus, you can have rubber straps if you want to go diving properly with it. These Jubilees don't have the extension like some of the Rolexes and some of the Oruses, the better divers, but you can upgrade it and put new straps on it and things like that. You can also get snowflake hands like the Tudor Black Bay. You can change the dial and you can add new crowns, you can loom bezels, you can change case finishing. Some people like to bleach them, and there's an infinite amount of possibilities. You can mod SKXs until sort of the sun goes down, and some people really go into it and spend 600-700 quid to make it their own and personal, because it is quite a well bought watch, and a lot of people have one. And if you're into watches, you've at least owned one at some point in time, or if not, you've thought about it, or its close rival, the Mako 2. It really is a staple watch for any collection. So the start of this review, I'm going to speak about sort of the design. The only issues I have with the design of this watch is the fact that the loom pip is on the second hand is situated on the wrong side of it. In my opinion, because if you're at night and you need to use the loom, or if you're diving, you're looking at the seconds and counting the seconds, but really you're actually sort of the opposite end to the dial. I mean, you should be counting up here, and you're actually counting down here, so it can become a problem if you like to time things accurately in the dark, which might be an sort of an unlikely event, but you know, there are some sort of oddities to the design of that, and given it has a white painted second hand anyway, so you can like clearly understand it in the day, but there is just sort of that little niggle to go with that. I love the hands on these watches. They've got sort of really, they're bold and they're bright and they're full of lume. As you know, Seiko's Luma Bright will be just phenomenal throughout the life of the watch, and it lasts, and it really is just brighter than anything you'll find at this price range. I love the how simple the dial is, and how it doesn't mess about with all these sort of like words. Like, it makes sure that it's clean and it's classic, and it is a timeless design because it will last sort of all of those years, and it has done until now. Now there is a 007 model which uses a black bezel and a black dial, but the 009 model obviously uses the red and blue bezel and a slightly blue tinted dial. Now I'll show up some wrist shots towards the end of this video, and I'll link them in the description as well, of the dial that sort of, it does reflect the light, and it does have a blue tint to it when you get it at the right angle, which is sort of a really nice change of colour when you take it outside and you realise a new sort of character to the watch face. There are a few things about this watch that I originally really didn't like, and that's when you take it out of the box. The original quality of the bracelet is just, I mean, it's unspeakably bad to start with, until you get used to it and you realise it's actually the most comfortable thing you could ever put on a watch. I've worn Jubilees and Rolex Datejusts and some of the other sort of GMT models, and I would almost prefer to have the SKX Jubilee to some of the vintage Rolex, especially some of the sort of the rolled link older 70s ones. But it really is quite a badly made bracelet, but it is incredibly comfortable. And I mean, I haven't got a lot to say about the clasp. I mean, it's a pressed clasp, you know, it sort of does its job. You don't expect a milled clasp at this price, and I mean, it does everything that it's supposed to. It won't come off your hand because obviously it's got the safety latch, and it does its sort of duty in terms of what it needs to do as a strap. Because the strap is so bad, it's flimsy and it will move around, it will rattle and shake, and you know, you just get used to that. I mean, some people love it, some people hate it, it's up to you. For £3-4 you could buy a rubber strap or a nice NATO to put on that, and it'll completely change the look. The back of the watch has an interesting design because it's quite plain and quite simple. You've just got sort of the details, the stainless steel, that it's a Seiko, you know, that it's a diver. It's got its serial number and some sort of basic information, and then in the middle you've got sort of a hint to Japanese art, and the wave painted by a famous Japanese artist is really sort of reminiscent of that culture, and it's a nice tip of the hat to their quite deep and powerful culture that they take pride in. So that's a nice tip, and they've not tried to be anything else with the SKX. They know that they're Japanese, and they've taken pride in that, and they've just sort of given you value for money more than anything I've ever seen in this price range. I've got a few other watches that I'm going to review over the next few weeks, do some editing, but it's going to take me a while because you know, I mean, I've got a few that I need to do, and I need to decide which order I'm going to do them in, and you know, etc., and edit the videos. But as time goes on, I will get new equipment and new cameras and new microphones, and I will sort of produce better quality videos. But for now, I don't have the money to fund that, so I'm just going to have to stick with what I got and do my best with the wrist shots and the lume shots. And I'm going to do some basic accuracy reports in the descriptions, do a basic review, and go from there. And if you guys have any questions about the watch, if you want to, if you want to see anything about it, if you want to ask some questions about whether they're real or not, or the authenticity of one you're looking at, just message me on the channel, or send me an email. I'll put a link in the description, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you guys have, and I'll do the research for as many of you as you'd like. So I'd just like to thank you all for watching the video. I know it was short and I don't have a lot of time, but I'll edit this and put it up within the next day. And please like and subscribe, and if you want more videos like this, I will do some more interesting videos on watches that I have loaned in, and some more things that are sitting in my collection at the moment that need a bit of attention, and would love a bit of camera time. So I'd like to thank you all for your time.